Hey, and welcome to Make a Mark Studios. I'm Miss V, and in this video tutorial, I'm going to be guiding you through how to do the alphabet font drawing challenge. This drawing challenge asks you to draw each letter of the alphabet in a different, creative, and unique font. Feel free to check out the link below to download and print this guided worksheet. Some of the materials that you're going to need today include a pencil, a marker, and either a piece of white paper or the printed worksheet. So let's get started. If at any point you feel like I'm going too fast, no worries, just pause the video. We're going to start with the letter A. For this letter, we're going to do a cursive font, and I'd like you to explore line weight, so making areas thick and some areas thin. Next, we're going to do the letter B. I like to start by lightly sketching out a simple letter B with pencil. This line is basically a guideline, so keep it really light because you can erase it after you're done using it. And then to create a bubble effect, we're going to outline the B and we're going to add some shadow being cast on the bottom right side of that letter B. The C is going to be pretty easy. For this, I'm going to try to embody the look and feel of a musical note. So at the end of the C, I'm going to draw a little circle, and then again I'm going to play with line weight, making some areas thicker and some areas thinner. For the D, I'm going to make a repeated line font. So I'm going to just draw a simple D, and then I'm going to repeat that same line moving inward 4 times. For the letter E, it's a little tricky. We're going to do an Old English script font. So I'm going to start by very lightly with a pencil, drawing the letter E, and then on top of that I'm going to go in with bolder lines to create these cool scripty fonts. Notice there's a lot of funky sections, so take your time with this letter. For the F, I'm going to make a really jagged edge font. Think triangular shape. And then after I'm done drawing that, on the right side of the letter, I'm going to add these repeated lines to make it look like it has some depth and three-dimensionality. Our letter G is going to be a bubble serif font with angular edges. So I'm going to start by doing a light sketch of a letter G, and then I'm going to outline the edge of that letter with consistent spacing, and at all of the edges I'm going to add that little rectangular shape known as a serif to make it look a little more formal. For the H, we're going to do a lowercase calligraphy script font. So follow along with this. We're going to draw a line that loops at the top and then a little hill. Notice I'm also continuing to play with line weight, some areas thicker than other areas. On to the letter I. For this letter, we're going to make it look like a stamp. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, and then inside that rectangle, draw another rectangle with a circle on top to make the letter I, and then I'm going to fill in around the letter with a dark tone. Let's have some fun with the letter J. We're going to make a cloud font. So again, I'm going to start with a very light sketch of a J, and then around that letter, I'm going to create these curved marks over and over again to look like a squishy cloud. Then you want to be sure to go in and erase the letter J that we drew to begin with, leaving only the fluffy cloud lines visible. For the K, we're going to do a very formal letter, and then we're going to add a serif onto all of the edges. Inside the letter, I'm going to draw a thick line next to a thin line. To form the L, we're going to draw lots of tiny dashed lines that repeat over and over again. The M is going to be a very curly script font. So we're going to draw the M, playing around with line weight, and then on the edges we're going to create this spiral shape. To form the letter N, we're going to draw lots of little circles. You can experiment with this one, making some circles larger, some smaller, and making some touching and some not. For the letter O, we're going to reference some graffiti fonts and make an X in the middle of our circle instead of a hole. And then I'm going to add this little highlight to make it look like it has some dimension. I'm also going to add some shadow to the right bottom side of the circle. For the letter P, I'm going to go with a geometric block letter. So I'm first going to draw that blocky P, and then on the bottom sides of everything, I'm going to draw a little line that comes out at the same distance and angle from every corner, and then I'm going to connect those lines to create my block letter. For the Q, we're going to make it look like there's some action and motion happening with the letter. So I'm going to draw some little marks around it to suggest some visual vibration. And for the crossed part of the Q, I'm going to turn that into an arrow to also suggest some motion and direction. For the R, we're going to do another bubbled letter with angular edges. Again, if it helps you, you can draw a light R underneath very lightly and then outline around it. For this one, we're going to add some dots around the bubble letter to change it up a little bit. For the S, we're going to do a simple S shape, but add some shapes inside to make it look a little bit tribal and rustic. And for the T, we're going to fill it in really dark and bold and thick, and then we're going to add these cool drippy effects on the bottom edges. Our U is going to be very round and make it look like a balloon, so we're going to add a little triangle at the bottom with the string coming out. To make it look like it's dimensional, we're also going to add little highlights in the top left corner. The letter V is going to be created by using lots of little triangle shapes. Think like a mosaic. leaving a little bit of space between each of the triangles, but still keeping them close together enough so that it gives the structure and the look of the letter V. Our W is going to be really ornate, and so on the edges we're going to do lots of little curls. Kind of reminds me of Willy Wonka. Letter X is going to look like two pieces of wood nailed together. So I'm going to draw one long rectangle and then another crossed rectangle behind it. I'm going to add some lines to show some wood grain and a little dot for a nail where the two pieces of wood join. And then lots of randomly drawn curvy lines to suggest the texture and the wood grain. Letter Y is going to be pretty fun. We're going to draw a simple Y and then repeat that, staggering it off into the distance. Just keep on repeating until you can't go anymore in the box. And last, we're going to go with the letter Z. For this letter, we are going to make it look like it's really gestural and sketchy, so you can add some rough edges and lots of little lines to make up the letter. I hope you had fun trying out these 26 different alphabet fonts. Feel free as you finish to add some color with either colored pencils or marker, or explore and experiment with adding shading with a pencil. I hope you found this video tutorial to be helpful. Feel free to subscribe for more videos from Make a Mark Studios, helping you to make your mark through art.